Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. This is Austin here, coming at you with some more StarCraft 2 Heart of the Swarm commentary. This match taking place on Overgrowth between our Red Terran player, the absolute superstar of the AUS77 SC channel. It is Maru, who plays for Team Jin Green Wings, and in the top right, also on a Kespa team now, is the Blue Terran, Dream, who plays for SK Telecom T1. Years ago, he played for MVP, just like Maru played for Prime back in the old Esports Federation days, the previous organization managing Korean teams. And so this particular match is set number 2 of the grand finals of the StarCraft 2 Starleague season number 1 of 2015. It was highly heralded on the best VODs and games of Heart of the Swarm thread on Team Liquid, and for it, I am casting it. And so, Maru, truly, I'm not trying to discriminate against other Terran players. He just happens to be listed in almost every notable game in the tournaments that I have access to the replays of. So, I have currently the replays for IEM Taipei, I have the replays for all the WCS Season 1 events, and all of them in Korea seemingly feature Maru in their best games. And so it is just interesting that he happens to crop up. I think this is 2 in a row, and he also had that game I casted against Life, so he's had 3 games. I'm not sure what his record is on my channel. You guys have to update me on that. I always forget the result of a game after having casted it, at least a few days or a week after having casted it. And so this should be an exciting game. I chose it because it was a TvT, and I wanted to be able to cover all of the matchups in one little cycle. I'm not sure if there'll be any ZVZs, though. That'll be of a special note. There is, mind you, a proxy barracks out, though, from Maru, so this game is getting intense, very, very quick. As the last game between Maru and Hero, I hope it was Maru and Hero. I'm almost positive it was. If it was another Terran player, I will sound like a fool, but I'm pretty confident it was Maru. That game was absolutely incredible. And I'm not saying this just to promote other videos on my channel. I'm dead serious. For once, it was a phenomenal game. So if you have the time, and if you feel like checking it out, go check it out, because what I'm about to say does indeed spoil the result. And the end of that game, spoiler alert, was that Maru was able to snipe the pylon of Hero out from under him in a crazy swoop at the last minute, and he did win due to no more buildings on the map for the Protoss player. So we'll have to see if he's able to win this game in a similarly crazy fashion, as he's getting a Marauder with a Tech Lab on the end. And I'm not sure if Dream will scout this. It seems he will. He gets the Reaper to attack the barracks, so it looks like he's well aware of what is going on. But will it be too little too late? He's only getting 1 Marine out. He already has the Reaper, but I'm not sure if it will quite make a difference. I'm pretty sure Maru knew that the SCV would be coming out fairly early on, and so for it, he's moving his SCV, and a couple of SCVs are being pulled of Dream. The Marine has now been finished, but the barracks will not, the bunker will not be. This Marauder could quickly make work of this, or could make short work. I don't know, I was thinking of quickly make work of this Marine, which is now only at 10 health, but we will have to see. It's all up to the SCV micro of Dream to save him this game. There's 2 SCVs sniped by this Marauder, and there could be a Marine, but now there are 2 out in total from Dream, and now the bunker does complete, so it looks like he is fairly well off against these early game tactics of Maru. I'm not sure how the Reaper fared. Decently well. He's getting a couple of kills here. No, 2 kills. Okay, I clicked an SCV and I saw 0 kills, and that's why I kind of stuttered. So it looks like he got a total of 2 kills, 3 for Dream and 2 for Maru. Decent overall exchange, as Maru's now lifting his barracks off over the base of his opponent. I'm not sure what he's quite going for here. He's getting a little bit reckless. I mean, I refuse to doubt Maru, because he did win against Hero in an absolutely obscene fashion, but this is a little confusing to me. I'm not sure why he would float. I guess just to get some scouting. He sees the factory, he sees the starport, the very solid 1-1-1 out of Dream. He's going to go for that famous Marine tank medevac composition, also some Widow Mines mixed in these days in TvT. But for years and years, all the way back since I started casting in around 2011, 2012, every single TvT I have casted goes Marine, tank, medevac, no other way. A couple of different units sprinkled in here and there, and with Heart of the Swarm, some Widow Mines, as I said before. But on the whole, it's almost always those 3 staple units in the TvT matchup. And I've always said it's extremely strategic. It's all about tank control, being able to drop Marines on your opponent's tanks or catching them out of position. It's a very chess-like matchup in StarCraft 2 to see two Terran players go at it in this fashion. Two CCs being built out of Maru. This young man is absolutely crazy. But he is of a similar age to Dream, in fact. I've always noted how young Maru is. He's around my age. He's 18 years old. But Dream, as well, is 18, although he's born a few months earlier than Maru. Nothing significant. He is still a very young player. He was prominent some years ago as a player on MVP. He's always been a solid Terran. So it's good to see him in there with the Kespo organization, playing hard, obviously making it to the finals of the StarCraft 2 Starleague. Here is a drop out of Dream that appears quite promising. It's got a Widow Mine and a handful of Marines. There is a Viking here to deal with it, but that Widow Mine will have to be dealt with first, otherwise disaster could ensue. The Widow Mine burying itself and then climbing out of the ground and burying itself again. It does get a decent shot, only 2 kills out of that though, and it looks like the medevac will be killed by the Viking, and now the Marauders will seek to clean things up. Viking will land, and there is that Widow Mine being targeted by Maru. And so that was a decent attack out of Dream. He has 9 workers killed in total, so not completely worthless. How much did he scout? He did see the CC. He did not, however, see the CC at the natural. So he probably figures this is the expansion of Maru, and that is about as far as it goes. We do now have Banshees out of Dream with Cloak, which is quite an interesting strategy for him to go for, and definitely is contrary to the 1-1-1 with Marine Tank Medevac. So already I'm being proven wrong as I make the prediction that he will go for the traditional composition, but that's a beautiful scan from Maru, and he will promptly see it and immediately assume Banshee play is possible. He already does have Vikings, but there's the Cloak upgrade that has been researched from Dream that could be of some use to him in his upcoming expeditions with this Banshee. There is the Raven back at the base of Dream being produced. Another Viking out of Maru. He has a good amount of them so far, and there is 6 Marines on the map from our Blue Terran. Another Banshee has been produced. And is that a Banshee flying back there? It is, and it has 0 kills, but just got a little bit of damage done to it. So my bad. I thought that was the first Banshee that was being built. I have to learn to read my minimap, otherwise I will not be the best player. A very well placed missile turret out of Maru immediately does a bit of damage to the Banshee. He will try to poke off a couple of SCVs, but wow, that Widow Mine is having none of it. Absolutely smacks the Banshee down to earth. I can't even see it. Where is it placed? I know it's somewhere around here. Oh, okay, I see it now. Very well done from our Red Terran, positioning it just behind that refinery there. I couldn't see the health bar because it looked like it was the refinery's health bar. But excellent defensive strategy out of Maru. He gets another great scan. There's a little bit of a Marine force stocking up here, and the tank in the main base of Dream. He is salvaging his bunker, producing some more Marines, some more tanks, and Maru seems to be doing the same, although our Blue Terran is now on equal footing in terms of CCs. I was about to say he's missing 1 comparative to his opponent, but this looks like a decently even game, ladies and gentlemen. I don't think either player has a particularly pressing advantage that they could put to use at this moment in time. The stim packs are being researched relatively in synchronization. The SCV counts are not significantly different, actually in favor of Maru, although he did lose more of them overall. He's just better able to bounce back. We saw that in that last game against Hero. There was a lot of adversity on him. He kept the pressure on Hero, and eventually he was able to break Hero with that excellent snipe. But the whole game was him trying to put the pressure on and looking to close it out. So I've seen Maru deal fairly well with adversity, with his initial expectations coming short, not being fulfilled. But we shall have to see how that pans out in this game. The Banshee's coming to the third. It will find largely nothing, as there is a well-placed missile turret. It will be able to poke down the CC from the edge here, but there's a Viking on its way. Dream can cloak, and he can poke, and he can have a bit of fun, but on the whole, I don't think he'll be able to do very much damage. Maru does have a couple of Vikings, and now is getting a couple of medevacs to go along with it. Both players getting their weapons level 1, while Dream is a little bit ahead of his opponent. Their armor level 1 is on par, with Maru having the slight edge there. The Banshee just being kept in the corner of the map for a rainier day, and overall the players are mirroring each other in almost all regards. Maru has not nearly been as aggressive as his opponent, But another lesson we learned in that last TvP game was that aggressiveness is not necessarily the key. Nice scan there from Maru. He will pick off this Banshee with a couple more shots. He even turns around as the couple more shots are being fired. So well played from the Red Terran there. But we saw in the last game that pressure does not always equal victory. Maru won it because he was witty with how he picked off the pylon. But Hero could very well have won it with the way he was holding off Maru's aggression. So being the more map-dominant player in this TvT matchup does not necessarily guarantee that Dream is going to win. A lot of his harasses have been relatively repelled. He did have that little Widow Mine attack, which was less successful than it should have been. And overall, the Banshee strategy, for what it costed him, was not really that worth it. And he has lost more resources than his opponent. So like I said, overall, not necessarily worth it for Dream. He's just looking to bounce back with some solid macro, plenty of units, and those weapons level 2, which he does have another edge on his opponent. Getting his combat shields now, I believe. No, Maru does not quite have those yet, so he will have to research them of his own accord. Always easy to visually tell. A little bit of a strike force here from Maru, being promptly pushed back by his opponent. He has a nice little bunker here at the natural. Plenty of workers at his third and a single siege tank. So there are actually 3 siege tanks. 2 of them set up. 1 of them in normal vehicle mode. And so we do have a Raven dropping auto turrets. Now that's a little bit more innovation. The siege tank's promptly targeting them. A decent number of SCVs killed. I think 3 in total there. We'll have to see how many the Raven killed. 3. Okay, there we go. Look at that. I'm able to do basic math and see that it went up from 11 to 14. A handful of Marines being dropped out of a pair of medevacs. And now it looks like Maru is going to push out. So this is a very smart time for Dream to go for a counter push of his own with that small little force, as most of Maru's army has been deployed here, and he just has that missile turret. So here is the engage. No siege tanks in play. Dream has them, but they're a little bit out of range. On the edge of the range there, some Marines are absolutely barbecued, just like the sausages I cooked the other day on the grill. Now Dream's forces are running in. The CC is lifted off, and this is a very smart counterattack from our blue Terran. He will have to pull back, but it looked like he did snipe an okay number of workers. 22 killed in total. I'm not sure if all 8 of the most recent SCV kills were from that particular strike, but very, very well played, necessitating even a sensor tower, a rarely used building that is actually extremely handy in TvT. My apologies there. That is my garage door. I will probably go shut my door right now, so just give me a very quick second, just because people are coming back in the house, so I do not want to be a disturbance, so just give me 1 second here and I'll be right back. Alright, we are back. My apologies for that. I just moved the minimap over just so we could see a little bit of a skirmish going on the right side. Maru's stimming up, trying to fend off the forces of Dream, and it looks like he will do so with some degree of success, picking off Marines 2 and then 1 at a time, and finishing off that little strike team out of Dream, who has a few siege tanks well positioned. These debris have not yet been cleared, and Maru's just not quite ready to fight that. So army supply is dead even between these 2 players, so it's not like either has a particular advantage, but Maru does want to reunite his forces at long last, and it seems he will have the opportunity to do that shortly. Dream moving out, but with no siege tanks. This is dangerous for him. He's got to get all of his tanks grouped up, otherwise it could be absolute suicide here if he does not get good positioning. He's trying to come in from the side, but a Terran divided is a Terran defeated, especially in TvT, as he's going to get pinned down here. I'm not sure why he's moving out this massive Marine force. I mean, he is mowing through some SCVs and Marines of his opponent, but he now will be sandwiched, and that is just free Marines for Maru to kill. I guess it was fairly bright, though, because he was able to destroy a command center of Maru's. Yes, the army count is going to have shifted greatly in the favor of the Red Terran, but if Dream can withstand the Hornet's sting after having kicked the nest, he will probably come out far ahead in this game. He's got a nice line of siege tanks here, completely going on a tear through the Red Terran's forces. Does not have many Marines to bargain with, though, and it looks like he's going to completely chew through a lot of the Marines, but he may well be overcome. This is going to be a close fight. Some SCVs pulled, and Dream has lost a lot of his forces, but Maru has not quite emerged with a decisive advantage just yet. He is moving over to the right-hand side, our Red Terran player, to try to destroy a CC out of revenge, where Dream himself is moving in and attacking some supply depots, but he has gotten to focus down that CC. I think it was killed by Maru, so we will have an even game for the time, which could fast become uneven if Dream could have killed that CC. Overall, it's even. A lot of SCVs were killed by another Strike Team 2 out of Dream. So 67 workers have gone down for Maru in this game, and he is significantly behind in harvester count, but significantly ahead in army supply. If Dream can withstand this attack, he can withstand the pressure that comes along with winning a StarCraft 2 game at this level. I'm not convinced he will be able to do so, though, because Maru has the higher tank count by 4 tanks. He has the higher marine count by 15 marines. I just don't quite know if the production of Dream will be able to hold out long enough. Here's a drop of a couple tanks right by the mineral line of Dream, trying to cripple what is left of his economy. He has that significant advantage in income, and he will not be able to respond very well to that kind of attack. Weapons level 3 out of both players. Dream still a little bit ahead this time, and vehicle and ship weapons, level 2 being researched. I think, didn't it used to be separate upgrades? Vehicle and then ship. There are 2 tanks dying of Dream. Maru is pushing in, and I think this very well may be the game, because Dream did have some nice aggressive plays, but aggression is not always victory. It's not always smart, especially when you're playing against somebody like Maru. But hold that thought. Dream may be able to close it out. He is trading very closely with his opponent's forces, but it is just not quite enough. Maru marginally able to eke that one out. He did have a little bit more production, though. So, well played overall, ladies and gentlemen. That was a good game to cast. My apologies for the disruption. I hope you were okay with it. And that was well played by Maru. I mean, this young man seemingly cannot lose. I believe he's 3-0. He may have lost a life. I can't quite remember. Anyhow, guys, I enjoyed this cast. I will bring you one in a couple of days. Catch you then.